So today I wanted to discuss a paper that was written by the followers of B.B. Narayan Maharaj. And this was in reference to a controversy that brewed up between Narayan Maharaj and the ISKCON governing body leaders. And the paper starts out, Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj didn't leave on his own sweet will. Rather, he left to save ISKCON from Sri Guru Vaishnava Aparad. The following are some of the reasons, and there may be others. The following is an excerpt from the letter Drutakarma Das, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami disciple, which he wrote to the GBC, quote, basically, I think this issue will be settled, the jiva issue, if at all, in the marketplace of ideas where I am accustomed to function in a direct and confrontational manner. Nevertheless, I will outline a series of actions that I think the GBC could take to deal with the issue if so desired. Number one, pass the following resolution. Srila Prabhupada's clear teaching is that the jivas, that is the individual souls like us, and the material world originally existed with Krishna in one of his spiritual planets, directly engaged in his service. Their fall down to this material world is due to misuse of their free will. When they go back to Godhead, they regain their original position as Krishna's loving servants. This view is in harmony with both Srimad Bhagavatam and the previous acharyas in our line going back to Lord Chaitanya. No other view shall be presented as conclusive in any BBT or ISKCON publication, courses, or classes. Any ISKCON member actively promoting an opposing view among ISKCON members shall be subject to sanction, including removal from position of authority, sannyas, GBC, Guru Temple President, and ultimately expulsion. Okay, wait a minute. We have a bunch of gurus. They are the sum total of the demigods. They are dancing with the gopis. They are assisting the gopis in the most confidential service of Krishna. However, the guru may be a Mayavadi. He may be preaching the soul does not originate with Krishna, which is Mayavada, in which case the guru shall be expelled. And isn't this the first problem we have with all these people? The governing body of ISKCON, the Sridhar Maharaj people, Narayan Maharaj people, they think the guru is subordinate to a committee. The guru is like Jesus. He's the sum total of the demigods. He's talking directly to Krishna. And therefore, we need to chastise the guru and correct the guru and reform the guru and make sure the guru isn't doing bogus things, like listening to Narayan Maharaj. Oh, wait a minute. Who brought Narayan Maharaj into ISKCON? Oh, it was the gurus. It was Tamal and Shivaram and Indradyumna and Satsvarup and Giriraj Swami, Bhagavan Das, and others. They introduced Narayan into ISKCON. Narayan is preaching a bogus idea. Anyone who preaches his idea should be expelled. Well, wait a minute. These are the gurus. These are the ISKCON gurus. So you see how silly these people are? They think the guru is somebody who is subordinate to Drutakarma. Drutakarma is a scholar. He writes a paper and he says anybody who doesn't follow my idea, even if he is the sum total of the demigods, even if he is the Messiah of the Jagat, even if he is dancing with Krishna directly, well, he should be expelled because he's bogus. Well, how is that possible? How can he be sum total of the demigods, simultaneously be a deviant? These people do not make any sense. Therefore, the BBT is requested to publish Shrutakarma's book, Once We Were with Krishna, with adequate advertising and distribution to the devotee community. This resolution would supersede any previous resolutions establishing study groups, etc., to research this question. My comments. This is the Narayan Maharaj people making these comments. There is more to this letter, however. The bold underlined section above is the reason the GBC wanted Srila Gurudev out of ISKCON. Everyone knows Srila Gurudev didn't accept the fall theory, and the GBC were threatened by Srila Gurudev's strong philosophical and shastrical background. The GBC accepted the fall theory in order to maintain their current position, and if they accept it otherwise, then they cannot remain in their position and maintain their spiritual authority position. Wait a minute. Let's back up here a minute. How did the GBC come up with the idea of back to Godhead? Back to Godhead is something Prabhupada was talking about in the 1940s, maybe 1930s, way back in time. This had nothing to do with the post 1970 governing body. What does the governing body of 1970 have to do with 1940? There's no relationship at all. So Prabhupada said, we need to go back to Godhead. And that is the flagship title of his magazine, Back to Godhead. And when the God Brothers complained about Back to Godhead being the title of his magazine, Prabhupada said, my God Brothers don't know we were once with Krishna because they are tinged with Mayavada. But in any case, notice what they're doing. The Narayan people are trying to make it sound like the GBC made this idea of back to Godhead and not Prabhupada, which is a big lie. Prabhupada is the person who said we need to go back to Godhead. Prabhupada is the person who said we have to revive our original Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada is the person who said we are all originally Krishna conscious living entities. So how was this made by the GBC? This makes no sense. Their paper goes on here. The GBC follows what is convenient and favorable for them, not what is Shastra-wise right, and we all know what happened with the 11 zonal acharyas. Well, first of all, we all know what happened to the 11 zonal acharyas. They were all supported by Narayan Maharaj and Sridhar Maharaj. And Narayan Maharaj was giving Gopi Rasika classes to what was called the Gopi Baba Club, which was Tamal Krishna and Shivaram, Giriraj, Satsrup, Indradyumna, maybe Mahanidi, I'm not sure, but there was a large group of people who were all listening to Narayan Maharaj, and these were the zonal gurus. These were the people in charge of the zones, and they were gurus of the zone, and this was well known, and all of these people were being promoted by Narayan Maharaj. And not only that, they were promoting Narayan Maharaj themselves, saying he is the ISKCON Rasika Guru. He is the Shiksha Guru of ISKCON. They had meetings all the time. Narayan Maharaj was in Texas with Tamal. Tamal used to lecture. My two favorite people in the world are Narayan Maharaj and Srila Bhavananda Maharaj. Wait a minute, Bhavananda was causing a molesting program in India. So my favorite people are Narayan Maharaj because he's backing up me and Bhavananda. All right, so the zonal gurus, they're making it sound like the zonal gurus were separate, something that just happened out of nowhere. No, they were given all kinds of support by Sridhar Maharaj and Narayan Maharaj. That is who was giving them their authority, their scriptural authority. And Narayan Maharaj was famous for saying the rhythmic idea, which is that you should worship a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada, that is bogus. You need a living person. And who are the living persons? They are Tamal. And Narayan Maharaj was in Texas, and my friends went to meet with Narayan Maharaj, and they said, Maharaj, Tamal Krishna was not appointed as a guru. He's not a guru. And Narayan Maharaj was spitting mad. He was angry as fire. He was yelling and screaming at my friends, what are you talking about? You guys are bogus. Your rhetoric idea is nonsense. And you are making offenses to the dear Tamal tree of Radha, Tamal Krishna Goswami, and so on and so forth. So he was heavily supporting the zonal gurus. Meanwhile, I was in Texas helping put together the lawsuit against Tamal Krishna, $400 million lawsuit suing Tamal Krishna for massive child molesting going on in and around all over ISKCON. So I'm in Texas suing Tamal for a child molesting cult, and Narayan Maharaj is in Texas supporting and defending Tamal and yelling, screaming, and shouting at my associates who were criticizing Tamal. So this zonal guru thing, yeah, we all know what happened to the zonal gurus. Yeah, we do know what happened. They were supported by Sridhar Maharaj and then supported by Narayan Maharaj. And Narayan Maharaj was helping Satsarupa write the Guru Reform Notebook. Narayan Maharaj's name is mentioned in the Guru Reform Notebook. So this was way back in like 84. So he was helping them all along from 84 to 94 at least, and beyond that. In 1997, Narayan Maharaj, by chance, happened to meet me on the beach, Venice Beach, California, and he invited me to his ashram. He says, "Oh, I've just come to America to talk to people like you, like Paranjan. Let's have a discussion. Come over to Fullerton. Well, why can't we talk here? Oh, no, we got to go to Fullerton. Oh, okay, so I go to Fullerton. And at that time, I was also introducing Prabhupada's poison complaint tape. I had this tape where Prabhupada complains of being poisoned. And the Narayan Maharaj was vehemently against me and saying I was a nonsense and I was a rascal for promoting this idea that Prabhupada is complaining of being poisoned. But I'm not the person bringing forward this complaint. This is Prabhupada on a tape. So I went all the way to Fullerton with the tape, and Narayan Maharaj canceled my 8:30 meeting, then he canceled my 11:30 meeting, then he canceled our 2:30 meeting, and then around 5:30, which was supposed to be our final meeting date, I was informed that he had just left the property. He was gone. He went off to meet some Hindu somewhere. So I sat there all day long. I had the tape in my pocket. He had no interest in hearing the tape or hearing anything about any of this. And then later on, shortly after that, he goes to meet Kirtanananda Swami, who is a pedophile who was having sex with boys in his motorhome. And he goes and hugs Kirtanananda, and he has plenty of time to talk to Kirtanananda. He has no time to talk to us. And he has plenty of time to go hug a pedophile who happens to be also one of the zonal gurus. So we all know what happened with the zonal gurus. Yeah, they were being hugged and supported and, kissed on the cheek almost by Narayan Maharaj. He was their big cheerleader and supporter. Okay. So when these followers of Narayan are saying, well, he knows all the Shastra and the scripture. Well, if he knows the Shastra and the scripture, he should know that Andy Warhol disciples and Timothy Leary disciples and Jimmy Savile disciples are not, were not, could not have been gurus. They could not have been Krishna's successors. Krishna is God, and these people are not the successors to God. But this is not only known by people who know Shastra. Any ordinary person walking down the street knows these guys aren't gurus. The Berkeley police were telling me in 1980, Antaduta is a criminal. This Berkeley temple is a criminal operation, and he is not a guru. So even the ordinary guy walking down the street knows these people are not, were not, could not have been the successors to God, and they have no extensive knowledge, Shastra, or anything else. Okay, carrying on with their paper, they're saying the second reason for the breakdown between the GBC and Narayan Maharaj was a devotee named Madhavananda Das. So they say, this is what they're saying about him. Everyone who goes to Mayapur knows that during the GBC meeting before Sri Gaura Purnima, only Srila Prabhupada's books and Back to Godhead magazine is allowed for distribution. Right. And Back to Godhead magazine defies their whole position. back to Godhead means we are once with Krishna and we are now going to go back to Krishna. So going on with their paper, all the other gurus, books and pamphlets, magazines are allowed only after their meeting. Srila Gurudev, which is Narayan Maharaj, specifically told Madhavananda Das to wait until the GBC meeting is over and then he can distribute our magazine. Madhavananda's closest supporter, Rasikananda Das, also told Madhavananda not to promote his magazine after seeing Madhavananda going around showing his magazine. Lo and behold, Madhavananda didn't agree with Srila Gurudev or his close associate supporters. He still went around showing his magazine to one and all, especially the gurus and GBCs. The result, Madhavananda ended up showing the magazine to Jayadvaita Swami, who didn't like the magazine a bit, as at that time Madhavananda was known as Srila Gaura Govinda Swami's disciple. Correct. So Gaura Govinda Swami was making a series of lectures about how we do not fall from Krishna's association, and he teamed up with Narayan Maharaj and they formed a clique to try to oppose Srila Prabhupada's idea that we do originate with Krishna. And Gaura Govinda made this series of lectures to oppose the GBC just before he departed, and some people think the GBC had something to do with his departure because he had said he was going to publicly challenge the GBC over this issue, the jiva issue. And he was going to get some of the local brahmanas to publicly protest in front of the Mayapur temple that we do not fall from Krishna's Leela. Of course, the local brahmanas, what he's really talking about is Narayan Maharaj and the Gaudiya Matha people. The Gaudiya Matha people also do not believe we fell from Krishna's association. So it's a Mayavadi clique. And Prabhupada told us that, Mayapur has a Mayavadi influence. So they were going to gang together, all the Mayavadis together with Gaura Govinda, Narayan Maharaj, and challenge Srila Prabhupada and try to make Srila Prabhupada's statements look false. Now, I'm not exactly sure who made this magazine. They call it Our Magazine. So I think it was Gaura Govinda wrote this magazine or Narayan Maharaj wrote this magazine, but in either case, they both had the same conclusion that we do not start with Krishna, and Narayan Maharaj says we should follow Sridhar Maharaj's idea that we originated in Brahman, which Prabhupada says is Mayavada. So anyway, they gave this magazine to Jayadvaita. He threw the magazine on the ground and stomped on it or something like that. So then Madhavananda goes back and reports that to Narayan Maharaj. Narayan Maharaj just tells Madhavananda to leave. He doesn't have any comment. But Narayan Maharaj had already said that he would never accept that we were originally with Krishna. He says, I will never, never accept that. Yeah, because he is a Mayavada and he cannot accept that, just like he cannot accept the Ritvik idea that we have to worship pure devotees. Narayan Maharaj says there's no example of anybody worshiping a departed pure devotee. That never happens. Yeah, well, people are worshiping Jesus all over the world. What do you mean that never happens? He just doesn't like it because the Christians have some law and order and system, and they don't allow pedophiles to be sitting in a big seat and be worshipped as good as God. They don't accept that. Narayan Maharaj wants to promote a system where pedophiles are being worshipped as good as God, and he doesn't like the Christians. Yeah, we never find any example of people worshiping a pure devotee because the Christians have put a big problem onto his pedophile guru process. So Narayan Maharaj wants us to worship the disciples of Andy Warhol, and the Christians are against that. Therefore, the Christians are bogus people. Now, there was one girl staying in Gaura Govinda's ashram. She claims she was being molested starting at age 5. And she reported that to Gaura Govinda, and Gaura Govinda just says there's nothing you can do. you just have to get out of the material world. In other words, he's not going to do anything about it. He's going to the GBC meetings. He's never mentioning any of this kind of thing. There's all kinds of molesting going on left, right, and center in Mayapur. He doesn't know about it, doesn't say anything about it. He just, sweeping it under the rug like everybody else. Madhavananda has made this magazine called Gopal Jio, I think it's called. And in that magazine, he sometimes cites Gaura Govinda saying, yeah, gurus fall down, you made a mistake, you accepted the wrong guru. That is rather amazing. That means the 5-year-old children who are being molested chose the wrong guru. No, they did not choose the wrong guru. You, Gaura Govinda Maharaj, promoted the GBC system. You stood up at the GBC meeting saying we need to keep Tamal when the GBC was trying to get rid of Tamal. You wanted Tamal and Bhavananda program to stay. The children did not want that. The children were being abused and molested. How can we say the children chose that situation? No, you chose that situation for them, and they suffered as a result. And now you're blaming your victims. Well, the victims chose the wrong guru when they were 5 years old, and I was at the GBC meeting making sure we couldn't get rid of the people in charge of the Molester Messiahs project. So it's all their fault. No, it's all your fault. You, Gaura Govinda, you are at fault. You, Narayan Maharaj, are at fault. You supported Tamal. You were in Texas with Tamal. You were helping Tamal. You were assisting Tamal. Tamal had child molesting going on all over the place. We had to have this project sued for $400 million. And this has nothing to do with me choosing that or the children choosing that or anybody choosing that. You guys made this system. And as far as Narayan Maharaj, he died of cancer. His guru told him, you're not qualified to take disciples. Do not take disciples. You're not qualified. He took all his karma. He got sick. And then his disciples were crying, oh, he took too much karma. Well, yeah, he's not qualified to take karma. Gaura Govinda evidently, supposedly, was poisoned. Or there was some rumor, at least, that he was poisoned in Mayapur. And according to one of the former disciples of Gaura Govinda Maharaj, he had even predicted that he would be poisoned by the GBC. So he's propping up the GBC, he's helping the GBC, but he knows they're just bad news. He says Kali Yuga has entered the GBC. So why is he going to the meetings of Kali Yuga, standing up at their meetings saying we need to keep the chief Kali Yuga agent in charge of the GBC? He knows it's Kali Yuga. He wants Kali Yuga to be in charge of ISKCON. Why? Why? Well, he'll have to answer to some higher authority at some point. He doesn't have to answer my question, but he will have to answer to the higher authority. You wanted Kali Yuga to be in charge of ISKCON. You went along with Kali Yuga. When ISKCON was reinstating a homosexual who was having sex with taxi drivers in the Dham as Vishnupad Acharya, you got voted into their system. You went along with their system that makes sex with taxi drivers into Vishnupad. You are responsible for the result, which is mass molesting. And now Madhavananda, the disciple of Gaura Govinda, he goes to a bunch of ISKCON festivals and he preaches there. He's allowed there. He's very welcome. He's one of the people who, says Prabhupada is preaching the wrong idea about the jiva. He's one of the people who says Kali Yuga has entered the highest places of ISKCON. Therefore, let's work with ISKCON. Let's work with the ISKCON leaders. Let's work with Kali Yuga. And he is. So anyway, how did these people save ISKCON? They claim they saved ISKCON? I don't think so. I think these are the people who caused ISKCON to deteriorate, fall apart, and become discredited, and which caused banning, beating, molesting, lawsuits, and murders. That is the result. We have to judge a thing by its result. That is the result. And I don't think anybody can argue with the results. They're all well known, well publicized, all over the media and all over the devotee networks. Everybody knows this is the result. And this is the result of Gaura Govinda, Narayan, Sridhar Maharaj, and many other people propping up the false acharyas of ISKCON. I hope this helps. Haribol.